From WDWNT, the worldwide leader in Disney Parks news, this is ParksCenter. Hello there, everybody. Welcome to this week's edition of ParksCenter, or ParksCenter XL, I suppose. Joining me on tonight's double-length episode, we have Allison.
Good evening, everyone.
Rob.
Hello.
Nathan.
Oh, Kungaloosh, everybody.
And Pete.
Sivako.
Yeah. Like I said, this is going to be a double-length show because there was just way too much happening at D23 for us to cram into one episode. So let's get things rolling quickly here with just kind of a broad overview of all of the announcements that came out about Future World. So kicking things off, we've got the fact that Epcot's going to be divided into 4 neighborhoods very soon. Like we have the World Showcase as we all know it now, but then Future World's getting split up into World Discovery, World Celebration, and World Nature. So this alone, I think, is enough to start talking about things. That's wow. All right. There goes the original Epcot theme.
Yeah, but there's part of this I'm okay with because Future World was never going to be a long-term thing that works, especially now in the internet age when we're finding out things that are happening from the comfort of our own homes. So it hasn't in a very long time been a showcase for future. I've got memories of the 80s when there were robots everywhere, but that's just not reality. I do take issue with them calling it neighborhoods because it likens it to what Epcot was supposed to be, an actual community, and that's not what's happening here. Also, these are kind of nebulous and overlapping, so it's hard for me to imagine. It seems like they chose things that they don't have to stick too closely to a theme with.
Yeah.
And so that they can put things wherever and stick IPs in wherever they want. And I think one of the examples of this is overall a good idea with the water announcement, this Moana attraction that they're going to do. I think one of the things I remember most about Epcot when I was a child was the fountains, the jumping fountains, in particular by Imagination Pavilion, which I've talked about. I've got a picture of that in my office. I have pictures of me in that fountain when I was 4 years old. And so the idea that I can now bring my daughter somewhere and there can be play around fountains and water doing cool things. It's a really neat element, and there can be an exploration of that. I'm all for. I hope they do a slapdash job of theming it Moana so they can one day maybe just take it out. I don't care, and it doesn't really belong in Epcot, but the experience of it, I'm all for.
So I agree. I think that there's some really cool looking things with the way they've divided it up. I mean, with the naming, like you said, you don't have a problem with it. I don't either. But it actually had divisions before. There was Future World East and there was Future World West. It sort of already had that. They've just added this lane in the middle for celebration to name wherever the celebration, the festival pavilion will be. So it actually has a thing happening in there. Overall, I mean, I think it's kind of cool, but I agree that it's probably making it easier to World Discovery, the Guardians of the Galaxy coaster now doesn't necessarily not fit in there. But I think they've had this problem before, like Tomorrowland, where like Monsters Inc. isn't necessarily Tomorrowland. So I think recalibrating the areas when they have a chance to definitely makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and I think that, when you look at this, I think the one thing that I don't understand is why they're calling them World Discovery, World Nature. Like, everyone's aunt is going to call it, like, Nature World and Discovery World. Like, just, why? And then also, why
because
World? Just call it
Showcase.
Land. Yeah, but the key there is World Showcase is World Showcase. Like, World Nature doesn't mean anything. Like that's not a phrase.
But we weren't going to rename World Showcase, so we had to rename the rest of it to match that.
What I don't understand is
Future World. It already had World in it, so it was already
right.
Future World. World was there already. But
right.
I think
but it's also Future World.
As someone who grew up in the hood, I wonder if they're going to battle. Is there going to be like, a gang in the nature area, one in the World Showcase? Because Shotgun the World Showcase gang, I'll hang out there whenever you guys want.
I don't think you're going to hear the term neighborhood used ever after this D23.
No,
It's just going to be called Worlds, and I think it was just a way of explaining it.
Yeah, neighborhood sounds like Pixar Pier to me. That was the first thing I thought of because of the four neighborhoods of Pixar.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So I
like
hope
to inject it anywhere that they can, and they injected it in our next topic, actually.
Yes, they
at
did.
the exit.
So,
Nebulous.
Spaceship Earth. This is cool. We're getting a new narration. We're getting new scenes. We're getting a effectively a Partners 2 Part 2 statue. What are we doing?
I said, is it cool though?
Like I'm a little excited. Like you want to take a crack at this?
I mean, I won't speak too long. Me and Nathan were already on a post show. If you guys want to watch it on YouTube, if you haven't yet, with our initial reactions. But I'm just saying, I want to stay brief. I just hope they don't do too much of the ride. I like that they said they're going to be keeping some of the show scenes. I do like the educational factor of that ride. So and I know it's going to be the history of storytelling. I just don't want it to be too storytelly and fantasy-like. I want them to use the real scenes and have it mean something. And if you're going to do the history of storytelling, then actually give us some history. Teach me something or something I could talk to my niece or nephew about as I'm going through that ride. But I do love the statue at the exit of Walt. So that is
that's
positive.
Fair.
Yeah.
I disagree about the statue. I think it's a nice statue. I just think it's like, I keep calling it the what the heck statue because in the sense Walt's sitting there going, what the heck is this? This is not what I ordered. Like this is where is my utopia? So it's just strange. If you want to put a statue up, put one up of Marty Sklar or John Hinch or even, those guys.
No one knows who those people are though, except for us.
Yeah,
I know,
fair.
but the key is that Walt had nothing to do with this park, and like you can make an excuse for studios having something if you wanted to because he did film, but Epcot has nothing to do with Walt Disney. I mean, as weird as that sounds, it just really truly is the opposite of what he wanted. So
it's in his world, though.
It's just strange. Tangential.
I mean, you're right. He had nothing to do with it, but it's part of Walt Disney World. Maybe there should be a Walt in every park. Who knows?
That seems like a stretch.
What does Kingdom One look like? That's what I want to know. What is the?
I want a Joe Rohde. I just want a Joe Rohde.
Just his ear. That's the whole statue. It's just
planting a seed in the ground.
Yeah. So let me just talk though about like the Spaceship Earth, the stuff they showed at the expo. Like it did seem to make sense in the concept art that they showed inside the expo with the light guiding you through the history of storytelling. And quite honestly, I feel like the history of communication was kind of a weak link, like in the one that's there now, because I feel like this is the kind of the way I feel about Epcot in general, but specifically too about this ride is that they've taken out a lot of what was the original heart of this ride. So if they can go in and do a clean sweep, even if it takes them 2 years, and put together something that makes sense again, I'm all for it. I would love to see it because I feel like it's an incomplete ride now. I feel like when I ride through it, I go, that used to have figures, and there used to be animatronics over here, and that didn't have the jib jab touchscreen, and and the space station at the top. Like if they can fix that, and then I'm excited about that. I want that. I need that in my life right now, and I'm gonna hate waiting 2 years for it. And if they're gonna keep some of the scenes like the burning of Rome and the cave paintings and like the Egypt scenes, like I'm excited about that. I want them to keep those scenes, and it saves them money to keep those scenes. Just maybe clean them up a little bit. But there used to be more of a Pirates vibe of there's stuff on the left, there's stuff on the right. That's just a huge experience. And over the years, each incarnation they've taken away rather than added to it. And so I'm hopeful that that's what they're finally going back and doing. And if they do, then I applaud it.
There is something that you mentioned there that I want to pull some attention to. So in the article, we mentioned this new narration, an entirely new musical score will be added, featuring a quote unquote story light element. Now you're saying that that's actually like there's a light that you follow through the whole.
They show like a trail of light on the ceiling that goes through almost that guides through. Now if it gets some kind of wacky voice, I'm out. But I mean, I think that the idea of like this is the path of your journey, I think that's kind of cool to have in there. I think at least it gives it again some kind of like kinetic feeling as opposed to complete darkness, small scene, complete darkness, small scene. I mean,
like
this attraction is what I still do every time I go. I love the attraction, but I loved what it was when it first launched. I mean, even the cheesy Tomorrow's Child song still sticks in my mind with the Cronkite narration. Stuff like, I love the original, and the original blew me away. As a little kid, it blew me away, and I want to return to some of that, because what I take my kids on now, to me, is it's okay, but it's just disappointing in comparison to what it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the current version is definitely a neutered version of what it should be, and I'm okay with the light, like light guiding us all the way through, as long as it's not just a longer version of the lights that are currently the information superhighway scene. I don't want that whole thing for like the entire attraction. But this is in badly need of an update, kind of like Carousel of Progress is badly in need of an update. But it's so terrifying because each update has brought with it subtractions, as Rob had mentioned. And there are a lot of things that are left in this attraction that people will riot if they don't exist. So if they don't have the smell, the scent, the burning embers as you go through Rome, if they don't have the sleeping monk, if they don't have, like, certain things are iconic and they have to figure out a way to incorporate it, or at least pay a tribute to that, so that people don't go on this ride that they have such an emotional connection with and then miss those things.
Yeah,
you know,
I think there's three.
Real quick,
go ahead, Rob.
Carousel of Progress, though, at least, I mean, the Carousel of Progress, while it could use an update and the last scene is way sorely outdated, it's at least the original form. You know, it's a different show than the original, but it's the original form of the original show. They haven't really taken away from that one. So, and to me, that one's still a classic. Like, I would continue to go to that one just because of how it is. I'm looking forward to an update, but this one, you know, again, I know we've said it over and over. It's just they take away, and it's just a shell of what it used to be, almost the same as Figment. Sorry.
And I think no, it's fine. I just think that this is the first time we've had this ride that's not sponsored by somebody. Siemens' budget is Siemens' budget, and so they determine what gets put in the ride and what doesn't. And also why it's a communication theme. When you have storytelling, that's and Disney, who has more money than Disney right now? Like, hopefully, and I think they will, because it is sort of this central attraction of that entire park. I think they'll spend the money wisely, as long as the seats are like, I was on it the other day and I was like shaking because it was just like boom, 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 like every couple, like it's in rough shape, and so
it's become a thrill ride.
It is technically a roller coaster, and it does feel more and more like when time goes by. So I'll take the update.
Well, Tom had said at the post or the talk after D23, the kind of the briefing, that he said he thought the entire track was going to be replaced, and if that's the case, that maybe it was taking so long. So hopefully that'll fix the problem.
Moving on from Future World to World Showcase, though, we have a little bit of news about what's coming to the UK Pavilion. Mary Poppins Cherry Tree Lane neighborhood. There's that word again. Coming to the United Kingdom Pavilion. Now,
this is a legitimate neighborhood.
This actually makes sense, like calling this a neighborhood. I love that art. Like, I'm very upset that art doesn't fit on this screen, but it is. This looks pretty sweet to me. There is no details on an opening date. There is no details on if there is a ride or not. There is no concept art. I'm sorry, attraction or not.
Right, whatever the heck that is.
There's. Do we know there is something? Coming?
They're calling it an attraction. They just didn't describe what that is.
You go to the Banksy house.
Two things that I thought were hilarious is, one was somebody said online that they hoped it wasn't Enchanted Tales with Mary Poppins. And the other one said, I wonder if there'll be a $200 make you own umbrella experience.
That's great.
I mean, that was.
They already have that in Liberty Square.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And in France.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, man.
But Tom said, again, I hate to keep saying Tom said, but I was at the expo with him, and I'm like, well, what is your take on this? And he said that if that had been an actual dark ride, which is, I think what we all want is a dark ride, maybe they would even take kind of like some of the staying out of what the great movie ride we lost with that Mary Poppins, maybe to have some of that scene put back into it or something, that would be fantastic. But he said if that was the case, that Bob Chapek would have announced that at the expo so that he could have been like, you know, like he would have gone out of there a god. It was so cool, the whole build up to it with Dick Van Dyke coming out. That was definitely the coolest moment in the room when we were there. And him coming out, and he came out and he just kind of talked about Mary Poppins, and then he left. He didn't talk about the attraction. We waited for him to leave, and then Bob Chapek said it, which was weird. But also the fact that he didn't ever say what it was specifically makes it sound like either A, they're not sure, or B, it's not going to be amazing.
Yeah, I think they're not 100% sure. Space is a problem there a little.
Space is a problem. I think whatever it is, it's not going to be amazing. I predict a walkthrough attraction like the Moana water experience attraction. And I'm not opposed to walkthrough attractions. Disneyland Paris has several, and they're beautiful and really make that park really special, partially because the park is so beautiful and well maintained. So I wouldn't be opposed to it, but it feels to me like they're trying to hide something, or they're trying to just like cover up and like we'll figure it out later. And it also makes me feel like this is something that they might easily take away and just put the facades up later and call that the attraction, just like we lost the Main Street Theater when they need to cannibalize those funds for something else. If they plan to put a ride there, they absolutely would have mentioned it. If they are announcing an e-ticket Black Panther thing with no details, certainly they would have mentioned that this is a ride
for sure,
and not give details.
Worst case scenario, I think you're going to enter the house and it's going to take you into a magical world, and then you're going to end up on a carousel, because that seems like the simple approach. I just want to say before we move on that I think I'm a little biased, because when I go through that area, I always turn to Katie and go, oh, look at all this space that could be Cherry Tree Lane, and I just want lamp lighters, and I want that. I got that. Neat, yeah. Someone reached into my head and gave me exactly what I wanted. So the attraction for me is moot. I got what I wanted. So maybe it's not exactly what's great, but it's an unused piece of real estate. It used to be that Pooh entrance to the Pooh meet and greet. Everything's a Pooh meet and greet. Am I right? No, I'm kidding. So, but that was about it. And now
I was going to say,
no, I'm saying it's just unused space because no one really goes and watches that show back there. So this all works for me.
I know we're in overtime. I like the idea again, and I think a big reason that we haven't told us what it is there's going to be budget cuts on this hard, especially with how much money they're dumping into Epcot right now. So once they finish Guardians, that's going to go way over. Then they have this whole Project Gamma. They have Remy going on. There's so much going on. This is going to be budget cut down to. You just, wave to Mary Poppins and walk right by. That's
good.
But I hope it's something good. It worked perfect. Cheerio.
Well, pip cheerio. We're moving on to the rest of World Showcase. We've got Canada, we've got France, we've got China. So I guess we'll start off real quick with Canada. No, we're starting with Canada.
Sure?
There we go. Canada Canada far and wide. That's pretty much all we know about it at this point. I am hopeful, but we don't really know much anything else about it at this point. The other thing that I guess is particularly huge is that there's now going to be a Beauty and the Beast sing-along that I believe we had a rumor about this before, and it's now been confirmed. That's going to be playing 50-50 with the current France Pavilion film, and also Awesome Planet. Yeah, we knew, and it still exists.
Boo this Beauty and the Beast sing-along. Boo it. I know what it's doing. It's going to go 50% of the time, and then it's going to go 60% of the time, and it's going to go 80% of the time, and then they're going to take the best video Epcot has ever made. So, there's no way they're going to let Impressions de France last forever, and that makes me sad. We'll see what happens there. I'm curious why Canada Far and Wide is not getting the projection upgrade that China is. Maybe they want to, but they just don't want to have both down at the same time.
Yeah.
Rob, I think you mentioned. I think when we were with Tom, he mentioned that it sounds like they're having trouble with the cameras over at China, so China's not going to make the cut for the Festival of the Arts. So maybe eventually Canada will get that. But it's weird, the idea that we're going to go into Canada with a new film and you're going to hear this flop, 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 flop of those like old projection system. So I don't know.
Are you sure though? I mean, is it not going to?
I don't know. I literally don't know about Canada.
Like,
I hope they do some upgrading.
Yeah, it's not going to be seamless, which is what China is going for. But I mean, I don't know why it couldn't be digital though. So I think
I just don't.
Be digital, but
yeah, they could do it. I just don't.
It over, though.
Yeah, I've never heard anything about upgrading those projectors. So, though I have heard upgrading that space, so maybe that was part of it.
You're a fan of Impressions of France.
I'm a big fan of Impressions of France. Yeah.
It's so great.
It is my Bob Ross of Epcot. It just chills me out, and it makes me happy. And like I leave and I go, and then I get a.
I didn't know anyone didn't like that film. It's the best one, and you get to sit. There are no lean rails.
Yeah.
You just get to relax in the theater, which is great. And then there's that beautiful flute music throughout the whole thing. It's like whimsical and lovely. It's great.
It's the best air-conditioned nap in Epcot now that they got rid of Universal Energy. I'll tell you that.
Best is still American Adventure. That's a better nap. Better nap.
I don't know.
I think France is more enjoyable.
I
think I fell
I
asleep
cry
the last
in
time
American Adventure.
Yeah.
Rob, what are you
I
saying?
get teary-eyed.
No, I just like my kids had never seen Impressions de France, and we went, and I was like, you have to see it once, and we went in. They're like, okay, we've done that. Maybe we're just uncultured swines, but I'm excited to see something else in there. I really am, because I just don't usually go. Same thing.
It's not for kids.
Yeah,
yeah, it's very.
No, my daughter is definitely going to prefer the Beauty and the Beast sing along for many, many years.
Yeah. Moving on from World Showcase shows to World Showcase shows. We now have a name for the show coming after Epcot Forever, which is Harmonio Us.
Harmonious.
Like, I mean, I know that's the word harmonious, but we're putting so much emphasis on the us. It's like, is it Harmonio Us?
Can we start with this title? Because
yes, please.
I don't understand. It looks like also it could be read Harmony US and be this jingoistic thing that becomes like a salute to all countries, but mostly America. World Showcase Pavilion. I don't know what's happening.
Oh god. I would love so much if it ended up being that, like just so we could make the joke. I think that the show's a minute and a half long.
As an old Epcot fanboy, they showed some of the making of Epcot Forever and them singing the songs, and they were singing Tomorrow's Child, and they were singing I'm not even remembering what else they were singing, but some of the classic, the 80s Epcot music.
Magic Journey.
So
Universe of Energy.
And of Epcot Forever that I may not want. I mean, maybe it'll be awful, like the water skiing and the kites. That seems weird, or the jet skis. But the music I'm excited about. So, I'd like to see that. I don't know, like, what we're really getting in the show, other than there was a big groan in the audience when they announced it, because it just seemed very like, that's what you're calling this? It's weird. And I get like we're living in harmony because of all the countries, but it doesn't quite fit.
Yeah.
If you get a groan at D23 to any announcement, it's a disaster. That is like abort, just reverse, figure something else out. That's horrible.
Yeah.
That is the most sympathetic audience.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, I really hated that song. I hated that song that they played, which is supposed to be the theme of Epcot, and I think it's supposed to be used in this, right?
No.
It's super tonal.
It's the anthem. Yeah,
it's the anthem of Epcot?
No, it's just the anthem of Epcot. And I thought
well, why wouldn't it be used in Harmonious then? Because it's the anthem of Epcot.
Because in Harmonious, it's all about, it's going to be about characters. So I don't think they're going to be. I don't think they're going to be using this. It's just going to be the anthem of Epcot. And I mean, I didn't hate it. I don't know what you hated about it, but maybe it reminded me of a bad memory as a child.
Yeah, no, I all I want to hear is Bruce Broughton, and it wasn't Bruce Broughton, I guess. I don't care. Like, I don't know. But Ben, are we talking about the water thing, the daytime water thing, at any point during this?
The daytime water thing? Like, feel free to go for it. Like,
okay. I'm way more excited about the daytime water thing because they're gonna do a water show in the middle of the day and like it's 1985 and like that excites the heck out of me because they've not done that in years and years and years and years. And you have this big lake that nothing happens in all day, and now they're gonna do something, and that's for me that's more interesting because we haven't had a day show at Epcot in a very long time. So that's for me much more unique and interesting than Harmonious, or as we call it, the corporate synergy spectacular. So.
Gosh, isn't it really?
Or a salute to all nations, but mostly America.
But mostly a salute to all companies, but mostly Disney.
Yeah. Oh, so moving to Disneyland for the last part of the first half of tonight's show.
Hey, magic happens, man.
Yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do?
Parade happens.
That's
like Forrest Gump said.
I'll be honest. I actually really like the at least the costuming and the floats images that we've got here. I think this looks really cool, especially the Moana float. Like that looks sweet.
Yeah.
The Coco
This
one
feels
was
like
awesome too.
Yeah, the Mickey costume looks very like Tokyo.
It does, doesn't it?
Which makes me happy.
We
But the
know
name is-
Disneyland can put on a good parade. We know they can put together great costumes and really great choreography. So I'm sure this is going to be fantastic. But the title, again, it's happening.
Like Disney's
really
rating department for
bad.
titles is just checked out. This is.
They need to hire you, Ben. Look at this. By Phoenicia?
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
By
true.
Phoenicia's the best.
Oh man.
It
Like
does-
I would love to be figuring this stuff. Like I don't know what I would do for this, but I'm sure there's something you can do more creative than that. Come on.
But that is the common thread for all
No,
you guys so far, isn't it? The names are driving you nuts.
Yeah, it is.
It's like the world
Yeah.
and the harmonious.
Yeah,
But
weirdly.
I thought it's something you guys didn't like about the parade because I agree. I think the parade float is amazing. I would love to have these in Florida. I mean, that's a really cool.
gosh,
looking- yeah, I mean, those are really cool looking and great choice of IP. I mean, there's not a lot from Moana. Everybody seems to love Moana. There's a lot of love for Coco. So I think those are two cool choices to add. I'm interested to see what other floats they're going to have in it. But I'm glad to hear that all you really hate about it at this point is the name.
Oh yeah.
It might be worse
You're right.
than
There's
Harmonious.
a common thread with titles. It's not. Harmonious is a terrible title. But here's another issue with some of the titles that they've come up with lately. They can easily be made fun of for being, well, potentially like offensive, right? So there's VI pass holder name.
Right.
Be really
Right.
careful, right? And then alien swirling saucers. No one thought like shortening that was going to be an issue. And now we've got parade happens. And if you have a family like mine, there is no way that we're not going to walk around the park and make fun of all of these things loudly and around children.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's.
These just feel over focus grouped titles.
Yeah, that's fair.
They just feel like 5 days in some sort of boardroom opposed to like, I don't know. It does feel like the fourth choice from the Imagineers when it comes to naming. And it feels like what works on a t-shirt? Like what looks best there? I think that's for me what a lot of these titles kind of signify.
Well,
But
I'm going to
I
make a
could just be
t-shirt that says
jaded.
parade happens with a poop emoji.
Parade happens.
Great.
Oh, good night.
Hey, look, we saved you 15 seconds.
Yeah, there we go. All right, we'll bank that for the second half, folks. So definitely stay tuned for this because we've got the Genie app, the Star Wars hotel updates, and Runaway Railway all coming up in the second half of tonight's show. So don't go away.
Do your servers crash more than competitors in the Bunta Eve pod race? Is your entire customer experience based on an app that has more vulnerabilities than a small thermal exhaust port located just below the main port? Well, we here at Black Spire Backup Servers have this solution for you. We know that IT infrastructure can be more expensive than turning a planet into a star-crushing weapon. Probably still cheaper than building a second galaxy's edge, am I right? That's why all of our equipment is at rates you won't believe are possible, and it's no Jedi mind trick, I assure you. We can bring these servers to our customers at prices so low that Jango Fett would bang his head on them. You might even ask if this is legal, and we'd remind you that the statute of limitations ran out a long, long time ago in a jurisdiction far, far away. So if you have some sort of very important event sign up happening on, I don't know, May 2nd, 2019, and you have a history of website issues on such occasions, maybe you should give us a call, no? Come on, Disney, you know your servers can't handle clicking power of that magnitude. Even your scruffy-looking VI pass holder events blow them up like the Zegan Death Star. Don't roll the chance cubes on this one, Bobby, I beg you. So come check out Black Spire backup servers and find more than just computers. We also sell project management software that can help your people-eating, crowd-splitting attractions open on time. I know, crazy, right? Black Spire backup servers located in the parking lot behind the Arby's on Orange Blossom Trail. You know, the former theme park connection warehouse. Come on by.
Welcome back to ParksCenter, everybody. Now for part 2. That's right, we get the intro twice this week, and we get commercials. Ain't it the best? Alright, so kicking off the second half of this show, we had that Black Spire backup servers might be needed for the new Genie app coming. Like if this is going to end up anything like what it looks like. Oh gosh, I muted everybody else and I never took you back. Welcome back to the call, everybody. Sorry about that. Thanks. So Disney Genie, a new Walt Disney World trip planning digital offering. This isn't going to go poorly at all, is it?
Oh, call it what it is. This is. Let me give you the fast passes we can't get rid of, and how to mind the crap out of you. What's your age? What's your sex? What are you? And they're gonna ask you all these questions. How big's your family? Right? You know all those people that kind of stand around. And then you're like, oh, I hope they don't talk to me. But then when they do, you're nice because they're Disney employees. And they're like asking you questions. When they want to do surveys, that's going to do this. Like they're going to data mine this for information. So that's what, to me, that's what this truly is. And not all of that's bad because it might really help some people. But then again, we've had a lot of conversations about how much issues everything else they have app-wise is. So I don't know why this would be any different.
But can't MDX already do that, Nathan? Can't MDX already data mine you? I mean, like you're telling it where you like to eat, and where
not
you want to go.
It can't. Yeah, but it's not finding your preferences out, like you said. Like it's gonna know you. It's gonna ask specific questions to get to know you better, and then use that to sell you more merchandise.
Because it can estimate how many. It can estimate how many are in your party by a reservation. But if you go, how many do you need? What's your family size? And then it's not like I need 4 fast passes. There's 4 members of my family that are joining me today. I think that is a significant, like that data point is a lot stronger. So I think they're capable of doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Sorry, Allison, you were going to say something cool.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's cool, but I don't have a problem with the data mining. I actually even kind of like that I get ads that are directed to me when I go to WWNT. It's like the ads that like the places I shop for clothes and all that stuff. So whatever, if they want to data mine me, I don't care. That's fine. And maybe it could help. And I also don't have a problem. This is going to help people plan their trips when they don't have a clue, and going to Disney is kind of a stress. And I also like that it could be a benefit to all of us who do know what we're doing, because it can help even out crowd levels. But that is all assuming that they can manage to put the software together correctly. And when I have how many times has like Stitch eaten the page when I just want to make a reservation, at the Crystal Palace. Like it's like, oh, I
Yeah.
can't do it. I'll try again in 2 hours. Oh, Stitch is still eating the page. Oh, my Disney experience is just like crashing on my phone. So if they can't manage to do that kind of thing with much simpler functionality, I don't have a lot of confidence in this. But the idea is admirable.
Yeah, I think
I'll
this might
definitely
flop.
accept that.
I think it might flop because people don't want to download one app. They definitely don't want to download two, and you still need the stuff going on in the first app. So I don't know. I don't know how successful Play has been.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like there's already another app.
Right. So maybe they go, oh, okay, there's enough people that'll get two, so let's try a third. But yeah, if it evens out crowds, I'm fine.
Yeah, I will be happily surprised if this does anything for the folks who watch this show on the regular. But that would be cool. Moving on from there to Star Wars, because we can't have a week without Star Wars on this show. Like it's just we can't do it. We've got now an official look inside and a few new details for the Rise of the Resistance attraction. This is, as opposed to the leaked image that we had, this is an actual official image from inside the Rise of the Resistance attraction. That scene with all the stormtroopers and everything. Like that's some pretty sweet art, honestly. They've come out and loosely confirmed the plot as it was rumored by us. Like they haven't come out and said that the entire thing is what we've said at this point. But they've certainly started leading us down that path. Based on, I believe, reports that we've seen at this point, we now know that there are 4 different ride systems involved in this attraction. So that is, which is just utterly stunning to me.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see this, honestly. This is going to be crazy.
It's getting tons of hype, which... I'm sorry, go ahead. I was just going to say real quick, it's just getting so much hype. I just wanted to live up to that hype.
That's
like I really hope it's amazing and everything else, but like, when this train, like, like even with the hype train with actual Galaxy's Edge, it was so much hype, people didn't show up. They were afraid of the crowds. And for many other reasons as well. But I don't know, I want it to be amazing. Everyone who's seen it and or ridden it, from what I heard, said it's incredible. It's going to be groundbreaking, one of the best rides you've ever seen. So
yeah, I just think that in many ways Galaxy's Edge opens on December 5th at Hollywood Studios. And what's happening tomorrow, and I'm getting up way too early for, it's going to be great and it's exciting, but this is really it. Like that ride is the pinnacle for this whole land. So it does sort of feel kind of like a slog to get to the best part, but I think we'll get there, and I think it's going to be really cool.
This had better be like Radiator Springs Racers on steroids in space, or it's going to be a massive disappointment. And I've been really looking forward to this, and I wonder if Disney didn't shoot itself in the foot by opening Galaxy's Edge before this, because as we're seeing, the attendance is not where it's supposed to be, and now like the buzz is like, it went from, oh, this is going to be amazing, to like, and now they're going to open this, and I think like it's going to be like a little blip, but it's not going to be as explosive as if they had just waited. That said, it's all the better for us, because it means there's probably fewer crowds that are going to show up, and we can enjoy Radiator Springs Racers on steroids in space for ourselves.
I'm just excited to see this thing because I feel like it's just been touted, like you guys have said, as like the ride. And when I looked at the ride system the first time, and when I thought about this attraction, I think about the Spider-Man attraction at Universal, which I love that attraction. I love the idea of the story of it and how you ride through it, and the practical effects mixed with the screens, which is rare for them to actually have practical effects. But I want to see this attraction, but I think it's kind of cool that we have what we have now with Galaxy's Edge, and what's coming is better, as opposed to Smuggler's Run being the one that opened up separate. So I think you have a baseline here of like, okay, this is what it is, and then Rise will take it to the next level. I think we would be sitting here complaining if they were this delayed and they hadn't opened the entire land. We would also be complaining about that, because it's like, hey, they said they were going to open it, now they haven't. And if you're going to wait till December 5th, that would, that would be late fall, but it would still.
We sure as heck did that with Pandora.
Right, exactly. But I
Yeah.
mean, if you think about Pandora too, the other thing I was going to say was Pandora is all about that one ride, really. I mean, the boat ride is okay. I like Satuli, but it's really about the one ride in Pandora, and I think that maybe this will be very similar. But I want to ride this thing like yesterday. I want to be on it.
Yeah.
Well, I guess continuing that upward trend for Star Wars, going from Smuggler's Run to Rise of the Resistance, the hotel.
Yeah, I was gonna say whatever the opposite of things that I'm going to do is.
Yeah. I'm never going to be able to afford this, but boy, howdy, am I going to enjoy watching other people do it. We've got some more details on this attraction, including a scale model from the floor of D23 of the ship itself, which looks great. Millennium Falcon for scale. We've got some details about what's going on, like this atrium, which is like the heart of the ship, where all sorts of different characters and things happen. We've got a bridge where you can actually pilot the ship, which is going to supposedly become relevant at some point during your stay.
I was going to say, as people that visit hotel cruise ships normally do, they pilot the ship.
You run the ship, yeah. Well, I mean, you normally visit the ship, that's not unheard of, or the bridge, but. And then there's lightsaber training, which I am super excited to see how they're going to do that, because I've seen some of the patents involved with this, and it looks sweet. And then we're gonna we're gonna let your kids go play loose in the engineering room. What?
My guess is that's just basically a confined area that's like the Oceaneers Club and the Oceaneers Lab that they have on the cruise ships. That it's a confined area that they're making seem like, it's probably just like a Chuck E. Cheese playground that they've actually figured out to be crawling through the, to help out with something. I don't think it's logistically them letting your kid go wild through the air ducts like Bruce Willis in Die Hard. But I do think one thing I wanted to say real quick, and I'll let you guys talk about it the rest of the time, because I would love to do this. I don't think I could afford it, but it's like either buy my kid a car or go for 2 nights in this thing. But I've had 2 people who knew I went to D23 at work who asked me, so is that Star Wars hotel, which is the thing that stood out to them, is that Star Wars hotel, is it going to look like a spaceship? And I'm like, no, it's going to look like a building, because spaceships don't start on the ground, and also there's really no need to have it that way. So I love the way they've got the pre-show and the whole thing set up, but I think it's funny that they've already bought into the illusion that it is a spaceship that you're going to be boarding.
Yeah.
I guess, why isn't it looking like a spaceship on the outside? Because that would be much cooler. I just suddenly realized how cool that would be.
Well, the reason in canon for that, at least, is that the ship is out orbiting in space, and then you're getting launched up to it. So you are on the ship. It's just we got to
base 220 stuff going on. Okay, all right, got it.
Yeah, but the story could be that you enter the ship as it's docked on land, and then you go into a simulator that launches you into space, and you think that the whole thing is lifted up. And that, I think, would be a lot more powerful and visually amazing and stunning as you drive up to this Star Cruiser. And if you're paying that kind of money, I can understand why Rob's coworkers think that would be what's expected.
Well, I mean, but if you think about it, the Star Cruisers, I'm sorry, Pete, the Star Cruisers never start on the ground. They're always already up in the air.
They're built in space,
there. So if you're talking again about canon, they're never on the ground. They're always already up in the sky. So I think that
I'm used to Star Trek, so thank you for the explanation. Man with the Star Wars hat. Thanks.
Sorry,
Your
Pete.
experience used to be at Las Vegas, Allison.
Oh,
indeed. That's right.
I was going to say, I just wonder if at this price point, I mean, I know it'll sell out for at least in the beginning, but if the hype will wear off, if the price will come down, or if they'll start giving it away, kind of like how they did the Dream Suite in Magic Kingdom, where you could stay there.
Oh, gosh.
I wonder to give a family, I wonder what a family would choose. Some families hey, you can go to the Star Wars hotel or the Dream Suite. That's a toss-up.
Yeah.
I think you're going to end up seeing this. What's it, a 2-day thing right now?
Yeah, 2 days.
Before it's all said and done, there's going to be a 1-day storyline that you can do.
Oh,
I
sure.
I almost guarantee that's going to happen before too long. So we'll see. Because right now it's priced. It's crazy.
Yeah. All right. Real quick. Last story on Star Wars for the night. We are getting the virtual queuing system for Galaxy's Edge in Hollywood Studios. That's pretty much the entirety of the story. Do you think this is actually going to be necessary? Because I don't.
I don't know if it's going to be used tomorrow, but we'll see.
It's
how
coming.
does this thing work if you have a reservation? That's the only thing I've never understood.
So supposedly, if you have a reservation, that like overrides the system. Like if you get in the queue, then it will forcibly add you to a boarding party that goes into the land when your reservation is.
Okay.
But like it's still kind of up in the air. And also, I guess you could game that system, like make breakfast reservations and then never leave.
Yeah, when we went to Disneyland, it was right after they stopped the initial reservations, and it was about the virtual queue. And I would get up in the morning and get like the first time like a reservation for Oga's, so that I could make sure that we were going to get in. Problem was we didn't really need to, because the entire time we were there, and it was July 4th weekend, they never went to virtual queue the entire time. So. But to answer your question, Ben, I think it might be necessary. And here's why I think that is that Toy Story Land opening day was a nightmare to try to get into. They had people queued up by the Chinese theater, and then you had to walk down and you were in a different queue just to get into the land, much less the attractions. And that was Toy Story, and it was also not as hyped. And I know that we have said, well, maybe there's a settling of the buzz going on. But I think it's better to have it in place from the beginning and not need it than to have to like double back on it. And I do think that you've got more people that are there for longer periods of time who are just wanting to go to Star Wars Land, as opposed to people in California who have the option to go to some really cool rides across the promenade. I think it's a good thing that they have it in place. And again, if they don't need it, great. That's
here's what we haven't. Here's what we've not considered. Well, hold on a second, Pete. Here's what we've not considered. There's a hurricane coming.
Yeah,
and
literally.
I think that is going to affect any sort incoming tourism for at least a week. Whether I think APs will show up for sure, but I think you're going to see that people are just going to wait till Christmas. But we'll see.
I disagree. First of all, people are not coming because the hurricane's coming. It's not that bad of a hurricane. Two, like if I could even say that there is not that bad. But I'm just saying, if someone's planning a trip from out of state, they're not canceling because of that. And I was going to say, I think they're going to need the system just for an extremely short period of time, because they're going to do tons of extra magic hours. It's opening at 6 a.m. every day in September, so it's crazy.
Yeah.
But, so that's going to be huge. I just think in the beginning, it's going to be Labor Day weekend. It is the last weekend of summer for a lot of states, not Florida, but where kids don't go back until after Labor Day. It's a big weekend. I mean, the weather's still good. You have the opening of Food and Wine. This is a week that a lot of people, I think, plan for. I used to try and do it, catch the beginning of Food and Wine right before going back to school. And, I'm sure teachers do the same thing. So I don't know. I think it's going to be necessary in the very beginning. Like I said, I think the hype wears off quick. I think a lot of people will go to experience it. And then it'll go back to its regular old way.
I think you're going to see Christmas onward is when this is going to hit.
But that's
people are going to wait until Rise.
Well, that's because they're waiting for the second ride.
Yeah.
It's going to be a zoo during that Christmas week.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wish I was going to an Animal Kingdom so I could not a zoo transition there, but unfortunately I only get to go to Runaway Railway. They got a train in Animal Kingdom. It's close enough.
It's currently not a ride, so
there we go. Not a zoo and not a ride. I love it. But we do have some new concept art for the queue and some pieces from this not yet a ride.
This is Disneyland, correct?
This I beg. Yes, this is at Disneyland. But this looks pretty cool. I like the idea that they've got for the two different integrations here. So like at Disneyland, it's going in Toontown. So we've got the El Capitan Theater. So it's a bit more ridiculous in how we get to introduce you to this world. And then we've got kind of the more, I guess, mundane is the word for it, entrance at Hollywood Studios, where it's actually just the Grauman Theater, and you're going to go through the screen in both of them. I
Which
do
is
like the look
basically-
of this, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say the one at Grauman looks very much. If you saw the projection show for the newest projection show, it begins and ends with Mickey like it's having his movie premiere. It pretty much looks exactly like that. So they're just gonna put that on top. So yeah.
I'm excited to see this thing. Like, honestly, like I think this is like we've been given a little bit of flack to this attraction because it got rid of Great Movie Ride, and that is, I guess, an unforgivable sin. But there comes a point where you need to stop paying your penance for that sin and start accepting it for what it is. Which honestly, I think it's looking like it's going to be a really neat ride with some cool tech, and it's going to actually look and feel like you're in a Mickey Mouse cartoon. Like
It has a really good team. Kevin Rafferty is working on this, and I've just read Kevin Rafferty's audiobook or his autobiography, and I might be interviewing for Dreamfinders. We'll see. He talks about very briefly, but he's basically retiring, and this is his last. Like he's like, this is the one I want to go out on. It's this Mickey ride. So it's not only in people's hands that are professionals who've done like. Rafferty did Test Track and Tower of Terror and, PhilharMagic. But this is someone's actual last, like, hurrah. And I think that puts extra onus on it, too, a little bit for those who are being creative, especially since he's, like, heading it up. So, I hope they figure out any of the issues they have and it works out. Because I really love this animation style, and I really love this Mickey. So I want more of that in the parks.
Yeah.
I also like the costumes they've got for the cast members that will be staffing the ride. They pay homage to the Great Movie Ride. You see like a little bit of the Chinese print on the red there. It's almost like it's a little Cheapow-esque, but I think without crossing the line into cultural appropriation, just enough to pay respect to what came before. And it's also really nice to see this after we're seeing the I've used this word already today, but the neutered costuming that's been happening around the park. What people are wearing now, than to see something that's specialized and themed that fit the attraction and pays respect to history. It's nice.
Yeah. I love just real quick, the watermelon detailing on that vest. It gets me. Like that's such a cute little detail. I love it. And then I guess our last story for the night. Good grief, it's been a while when we've been doing this tonight. But we've got a Princess and the Frog lakeside restaurant coming to Reflections. Like that, you're just begging me to ask you for frog legs if it's on the menu.
Is this Hopper's? Is this Hopper's frog legs?
Yeah. This looks pretty cool. I'm interested to see more Princess and the Frog getting traction in the parks and resorts. This is something I was not expecting to have happen, honestly.
It looks super cool, but it's just in the wrong place. We have Port Orleans. Like, why is it not? Why is it going to
Why is it not Tiana's place? Why is it not the literal restaurant from the freaking movie? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It's really weird, but I'm very excited about it, especially because of the architecture that they showed in the concept art. Because it looks like a bayou. I live in Louisiana, so it's like this I think does fit the theme aesthetically. We do have a place that would be better for it, but yeah, it looks like you could be out on a canoe in the bayou floating by. Yes, it should be Tiana's place. I don't know why it's not. The woman who was the inspiration for Tiana just passed away. So it would be another, and she was a huge celebrity chef in New Orleans, and her family still runs several restaurants. Actually, the restaurant that I had my baby shower at was like her main restaurant. So that's like pretty amazing. I have a really close kinship with this particular movie because this is where I live, and so it's exciting for me to be able to go and take my daughter to a new restaurant that's themed to where we live. But yes, I don't know why they're putting it here and not in Port Orleans, but it looks like it's going to be a beautiful setting. So I'll overlook it. Go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm excited about the hotel in general, but and I love the idea as everyone has said about more Tiana, more Princess and the Frog in the parks. And again, that it does seem weird where it is, but I think that from the look of it, it doesn't look like it's going to be. It looks like it's going to be a nicer, more upscale restaurant. Which I feel like if you're going to do Princess and the Frog, it should be a super family restaurant.
I agree.
So I think it's going to be a very light theming, I would think. But I was excited about the idea that there was going to be anything new. I wasn't concerned about it at first, and then when everybody was saying, "Well, why wouldn't it be Tiana's place and why wouldn't it be in Port Orleans?" That absolutely makes sense too. So hopefully this does not prevent them from doing that someday and maybe doing something more family friendly, more themed at Port Orleans, where it would make more sense, and just have a touch of the bayou in it.
A touch of the bayou. I like that. That's a good phrase.
Touch of the bayou.
Yeah, just a little bit.
I hope that they also have New Orleans inspired dishes on that menu.
Oh, they better.
Frog would obviously be, but they better have like crawfish. They better have king cake for dessert. They better have shrimp and grits. Po' boys.
We like some gumbo.
Good. Yeah.
Sorry, we don't do that here. We don't do gumbo.
Deconstructed gumbo. That's it.
Oh, jeez. Just ingredients.
All right. Well, that is going to do it for this week's double long episode. Thank you all for sticking out with us. If you saw anything in here that interests you and is something that you'd want to go see in the parks, we highly recommend you contact our travel sponsor, Never Grow Up Vacations, the official travel partner of WDWNT. They're an authorized Disney vacation planner whose focus is in making magic for their clients, and with over 20 years of experience booking Disney vacations, we're sure they can help you make your next trip even more magical. So head on over to wdwnt.travel to contact them about your next trip today. We've got news tonight, coming back tomorrow night at 9 p.m. covering Food and Wine, opening Galaxy's Edge, and all of that madness that's happening all Thursday morning. Like, good grief, that's going to be a heck of a show. So definitely tune in for that. If you are watching this live, thank you very much. If not, we do record live every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. You can find us at youtube.com/WDWNT. Subscribe and ring the bell to get notified every time we go live, or over at the WDWN Tunes. Also, you can find us in audio podcast form after the fact. Just search for ParksCenter wherever fine podcasts are sold, and you should be able to find us pretty easily. Do stay tuned for the post show if you are one of our WIGS members. If you're not, head on over to patreon.com/WDWNT. For as little as $2 a month, you can get access to our post shows, the post shows for news tonight, and a whole host of other extra benefits by heading over there and signing up. So we highly recommend you check that out. If you are a WIGS member and you're watching on that WIGS only stream, we'll be back with the post show in just a moment. Otherwise, we will see you all next week.
Bye.
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 Da 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 da.
Harmonious.
You got a minute and a half.